President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, Republic of the Philippines. We are indeed honored to welcome President Rodrigo Roa Duterte here at the Philippine Stock Exchange as we celebrate the 10th listing anniversary of Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, Inc. Here to formally open today's program is the Chairman of the Philippine Stock Exchange, Mr. Jose T. Pardo. May we request our guests on stage to please take their seats.
President Rodrigo Duterte, Executive Secretary Mediatia, Senator Sandy Dominguez, Senator Secretary Cusi, and members of the Cabinet who were earlier introduced. Board of Directors and Management of Phoenix Petroleum Philippines, led by its Chairman Domingo Uy and its President and CEO Dennis Uy. My colleagues in the board of the Stock Exchange, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. Mr. President, it is with great honor that I welcome you to the Philippine Stock Exchange. Today, we celebrate the milestone of a company that showcases the strength and resilience of the local market while proving that a homegrown brand can compete with the best in the world. From some 33 operational stations in Mindanao, Phoenix Petroleum now has over 500 gasoline stations nationwide and still growing. Stories like theirs deliver the resounding message that yes, with an even playing field and sound macroeconomic fundamentals, local businesses can flourish. That is why the Phoenix story is a good one to tell. Since its public listing 10 years ago, Phoenix Petroleum has grown to be one of the more prominent names in an industry that was once dominated by just a few big players. Undaunted by challenges at that time, they threw their hat in the ring and made their presence felt. Posting a net income of $1.09 billion in 2016 from $122 million in 2007. Phoenix has really come a long way. As a listed company, the stock has consistently been part of the industrial index since May 2010. Recently, the company disclosed that it is venturing into the LPG business, another significant revenue source, as they expand their business model to reach their growth targets. It is also worth noting that on the day of its maiden listing, Phoenix Petroleum's market value was only $1.85 billion. This year, the company reached a record market capitalization level of $15.46 billion as of May 22. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Phoenix Petroleum's success is a vote of confidence in the future of our country. More jobs and increased income not only fuel more economic activity, but also give businesses more confidence to push more innovative offerings to the market. That our market went up by 15.9% over the next 52 days after the 2016 presidential elections was a clear sign that the economic program of the Duterte administration was simply working. And the fact that the index has grown by 15% this year is no lucky strike. It is the product of hard work and leadership by an honest and competent economic team. Talking of luck or charm, I must say, Mr. President, that during your first visit today to the PSE, the market appeared to have reacted positively as the PSE index traded higher. You should come here more often, Mr. President. But then again, that should be indicative of increased confidence in the economic directions that have been set. In closing, let me express our congratulations to Phoenix Petroleum on your 10th listing anniversary. And of course, we thank you again, Mr. President, for enabling reforms and programs to keep the economy robust and competitive. Mabuhay at salamat sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Chairman Pardo. May we now call on Phoenix Petroleum Philippines Inc. President and CEO, Mr. Dennis Uy, for his message.
Mayor President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, members of the economic team, members of Congress, government officials, PSC Board of Directors and Management, Phoenix Petroleum Board of Directors, our partner financial institutions, investors, brokers, our Phoenix team, my family and guests, maayong hapon sa inyong tanan. 10 years ago, the Phoenix premiered here at the PSC. We were then a small company from Davao City with a market share of less than 1% in the competitive oil industry. Today, a decade since our successful listing, Phoenix Petroleum has captured over 6% of the market share, close to being a number 3 player. Our story is a testament that businesses from the provinces can compete well on the national stage. That is why on this occasion, we invited our dear President for our longtime mayor when we started and grew the business in Davao. He encouraged entrepreneurs by making it easy to do business by removing bureaucracy. This is how we were able to build stations in less than 3 months, compared to over 6 months in other parts of the country. Coming from a middle-class family that started with trading copra, we had limited working capital. I had to work hard to earn the trust and confidence of our creditors, to build up capital and access debt and equity to execute our business plans. Going public is one of the best, if not the best business decision I've made. This enabled us to be where we are today. Since our IPO in 2007, we have raised 6 billion pesos in additional equity, a combination of common and preferred shares, 19 billion pesos in long-term debt, and 32 billion pesos in short-term lines, compared to the 220 million pesos when we went public. Being listed enabled us to grow our sales volume at a compound annual growth rate of 41% from 2007 to 2016. We are today the #1 independent and the fastest growing oil company in the country. We hope our success inspires many, because today's event is not only about Phoenix Petroleum. It is about my advocacy to encourage and inspire other businessmen, young or old, provinciano or Manileño, to go public. For to be a publicly listed firm is to have the natural discipline to practice good governance and transparency, which enables us to access capital, tap new markets, attract talent, grow the business, and generate more employment. We need more entrepreneurs for the country to create more jobs, to be socially responsible citizens, and to spread the wealth. Because business should not only be about making profit, but about changing lives. Today, as we mark our 10th listing anniversary, we will create a fund with an initial 100 million pesos for the soldiers of Marawi City and their families. The fund, called LIFE, will help them secure sustainable livelihood, achieve independence, sustain their families, and provide education. The LIFE Fund is our commitment of support to our military and police, who protect and defend us with their lives. It is time that our businesses recognize and assist them, for without their efforts to keep the peace, we will not be here celebrating milestones in our companies. Indeed, these times call for decisive action and a community spirit, and we look up to our President for leading by example. I thank President Duterte for being our inspiration and my inspiration, a leader who is fair and just, decisive, a man of vision and action. I cannot think of any leader who loves our country more than he does. I thank the Philippine Stock Exchange for our business partners and supporters, and most especially our Team Phoenix, for joining me in this journey. My family, headed by my father, our chairman, and my wife, who recently gave birth to our third child, our holy son, for the never-ending support, patience, and love. To our shareholders, please keep the faith and continue to join us in our journey towards the next decade of growth of Phoenix Petroleum. To God be the glory, and in His time, we will soar to greater heights. Today, the Phoenix flies higher. Daghang salamat, mabuhay tayong lahat. At this point, let us direct our attention to the screens to know more about the Life Fund for our troops in Marawi.
Pansin na yung butas pala na yun, tagusan pala yun sa hanggang pangatlong building. Papasok na sana kami. Narinig ko yung people, yung RPG, pero hindi ko natapos yung sigaw ko ng RPG kasi pumutok na sa harap ko eh. Parang pinalo ako ng maso dito sa mukha eh. Nung ginanol ko yung dugo, may 3 ngipin pala yung natanggal sa akin dito sa taas.
Time na accidente ko po is birthday din ng tatay ko. Tapos sinabihan ko yung senior ko na certain ko kung unang tawagan yung pamilya ko kasi nag-celebrate pa ng birthday para hindi rin masira yun kasi hinagan. Yung papa ko po pumuntahan dito para makita kung ano talaga sitwasyon ko, bakit pinutol yung kamay ko para rin maiparating niya sa amin sa mga kapatid ko.
Bali sir, yung katropa ko yun sir, matagal ko nang kasama yan sir dati sa batalyon sir. Bali, pagdating ko kasi nabundid na ako sir eh, sinalubong niya ako kaagad. Sabi niya sa akin, Sarge, malayo yan sa Bituka, okay lang yan. Nagamot natin yan. Wala pang 5 minutes sir, nung binira kami sir ng RPG, siya muna unang tumalsik. Pag niya sir, wala na sir, nakapikit na siya kaya patay na.
In-advise sana na ako na CEO sir na tawagan yung pamilya ko. Sabi ko, wag muna. Dahil baka malarma sila doon kung anong mangyari sa kanila. Dahil iba kasi yung mentality ng civilian sir kaysa military sir. Kung binilitaan siya sir, yun na yung naramdaman niya. Hindi siya makain, hindi siya makatulog. Kinabukasan sir, dumating siya kagad.
Mag-retiro pa na, nakay sabi niya. Matanda ka na. Okay. Isa pala yung graduate, anak natin ka. Pwede yung graduate man natin yung dalawa. Tapos nung graduate na yung dalawa, parang ayaw ko pa rin. Dahil nakikita ko yung bunso ko, grade 10 pa rin. Hindi ko pa, high school pa lang. Gusto ko talaga lalabas ko servisyo ko. Graduate na yung dalawa anak.
Kinabukasan ng mga anak, ano ba yung makakapagtapos ba sila ng pag-aaral? Kasi yun ang sir, yun ang medyo mahirap i-ensure pag nawala yung isang sundalo eh. Yung mga bata na may iwan, pamilyang may iwan.
Sigurado ako deep inside dun sa mga sundalo na yun, takot na takot din sila. Natatakot din silang undead or malasid pagka tinamaan kasi may mga pamilya talaga na yung pamilya na nag-aantayan sa kanila sa mga bahay nila. Napakahirap po na trabaho yung anytime pwede kang mamatay talaga.
Thank you, Mr. Uy. And we now call on Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea to please introduce our guest of honor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The President of the Republic of the Philippines, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Opo po kayo. Salamat po. The usual number of pages for a speech prepared by my staff. Dalawang pages lang po. So it took me about 2 hours in coming over here to deliver a speech of a minute and a half. Parang kayo yung niluluko ko, ako yung niluluko ninyo. Depende na lang sa tingin ninyo dyan dito. But maybe if we have time, this is a well-written speech, but there are so many things in my heart that I need to unburden before you. Alam mo, it's my first time na it starts moving. Kikita ko lang ito sa TV. And my experience with businessmen that I was invited during the campaign to talk before the illustrious idiots. Tapos sinabi ko na, ako pa naman, I'm just a provinciano. I took up law to really specialized in criminal. Kasi may inclination kasi ako ng criminal mind that I'd be better to assess myself when it is there. Sabi ko, I'm not a businessman. I've never been interested in business. All my life, I wanted to be a lawyer, just like my father, and a prosecutor. So right after I graduated, I went back because my mother was widowed very early in life. So I had to go home to help my mother run the business. And at the same time, I had to stop for a while to help her tide things over. But I really was bent on taking up law, and totoo naman ang mga subjects ko na matataas even when I was a student in criminal law. Pati nasa bar. So every time I'm whether in Davao or anywhere, and for the first time in a big league like Manila, I always give them warning that hindi po ako negosyante at ayaw na ayaw ko yung paski yung legal accounting. Bakit ba yung subject? Maglagay ka dito, expenses 500, debit, credit 500. Dupli-dupli na yung expenses ilista mo, tapos yung gastos ilista mo. But was never interested in that kind of ulabalo. Doon sa, I won't mention the entity. Nag-warning na ako na sabi ko, if you want to talk about criminal laws, taxation maybe, dyan ako mahusay. Prosecution in court, I've been a trial lawyer for 10 years. Pero kung sa negosyo itong ganito, stocks, may corporation law kami. At nagturo ako minsan sa Davao, just one semester kasi first one. And I was talking about the typical Philippines. Ano what ails this country? It's not only about money, it's about improving the landscape, improving the economic, social, and what is really pulling us down until now is the prevalence of corruption. Yun ang tinitira ko doon sa speech ko. That I was also worried about the drugs and the allied crimes until now. Pagkatapos ng speech ko, I was reading the newspapers the following day. At sabi noong presidente ng club na yun, I was just talking about business on the surface. Nothing about, alam mo, kung niyaya mo ako, do not comment. Ngayon, ikaw dito, presidente ka ngayon, tapos tatanungin ka bukas, how did Duterte fare yesterday? Ay, walang sinabi kung hindi yung krimen. Wala namang sinabing sa business. Sabi ko, putang ina mo, sinabi ko na sa iyo na hindi ako marunong. Ngayon, dadaldad ka nandyan sa daya. Sa kapal kita. I told you so. I was very honest. I am really very honest. Why? Because I really find no objection in life to tell a lie. Yan ang sakit doon. Hindi ako magsinungaling. Ba't ako magsinungaling? Is there a duty, a mandate to me to lie? I'll just give you the truth and that's it. Yan ang nakuha ko sa nanay ko. Kasi nanay ko po hindi ka magsabi na totoo, hindi maghinto ng palo. You just have to tell the truth. Grabe yun. Ay, kung buhay pa yun, tumanda ko ng child abuse yun. Grabe ang inabot ko doon. So, ngayon, sabihin mo sa akin na it might just sound sometimes vulgar or out of the line. But, sasabihin talaga ano totoo. Kung sinabi mo, pinatay mo daw, totoo. So, gano'n lang. Kasi itong I remember, dito sa Phoenix, it was just on its early thing starting to do business in the Philippines. And yet, as early as at that time, they were already buffeted by so many issues. One was really the smuggling down of diesel. Basta oil. So, pumunta siya sa akin. Sabi ko, ito ba totoo? Tell me the truth. Ikaw ba dito walang sabi? Kasi walang talaga ngayon. Is this above board, by the way? Above board. At tinawagan ko yung customs. Sabi ko na, alam mo, yung mga taga-Davao naman, pagkakakumpisa na. Hindi mo murahin ko kayo dyan. I'll go to Manila, I'll go to your office, I'll present you in front of the public. Sinabi ko talaga sa ano na yun. So, sabi ko, kung gusto ninyo, you file a case. Sabi niya, well, go ahead. Huwag kayong magiging, you file a case. And the fullness of God's time, it was decided in His people. Kaya alam ko yung dito tayo sa shift sa corruption. Ako po'y hindi naman mayaman, hindi naman mahirap. Average mother teacher. My mother was a retired supervisor sa education department. Kami ay lumaki na always there's such a thing as honesty. Ang individual tao naman kanya-kanyang diskarte as you group. But I've always I'm not trying to roll my own chair. You know, my father was governor for the longest time. There are now so many he died. Pinaghati-hati nila. And the government, Mr. Marcos, went to a gerrymandering. So the North was given to the Bulanos and to Oriental was given to Rabat. Ito namang sa Del Sur was given to Toronto and Almendras. And Davao City remained in the control of Mayor Lopez kasi brad niya si Mr. Marcos sa maternity. So ganun ang nangyari. But nasabi ko na I am not new to the trappings and I grew up with. And ako naman, I am not really the most honest. Kung hanap ko hindi mo with a lamp light, malalampasan mo talaga. But I have the barest minimum how it is to be. I took it after my father. So, no mayor ako. I was mayor for 23 years in Davao. Yan talaga ang sinunod. I was a congressman for 4 years. 3 years. And then a vice mayor to my daughter. Yung nanutok ng sheriff, si Inday. She's now back to being mayor. And she has, if she had not had the temerity to run also for mayor again, I would not be president. Kasi I was not ready to let go of Davao. But sinabi ko, tatakbo na ako ng presidente. Not because I want to perpetuate our bloodline. It's not that. Pero kasi ang, as they say in politics, it's all bad. Alam mo po, hindi mo talaga sigurado ang papasahan mo na tao. Sayang yung pagod mo for 23 years. You know, from scratches, from a very topsy-turvy place. Again, Davao is earning, do you believe it, 9% growth rate. Lahat ng mga napuntan Davao. Tingnan na yun Davao. See what, if people just obey the laws. But on the other side, yung sabi nilang dark side, which is really the brightest light for all of you, is I insisted on, yes, wag naman yung heaven, but the barest minimum of honesty in government. And I give process papers 3 days. Kaya nga dito I'm crying appeal ako sa corruption dito sa gobyerno. But little by little, mayayari ko ito. I think what really pulled us down all the years is corruption. Yan ang gusto ko. Kaya ako, I'd rather makilala ninyo ako or my co-workers in government na pag may kunting kalukuhan or if there's a shakedown there somewhere and if you think that you can negotiate more fairly with government, do not enter into it. Wala itong yung iba dyan talaga I formed a cabinet 1 month after I fired a director, I fired a cabinet member. In the cabinet meeting, talagang binulshit ko for being dishonest and lying to his teeth in front of me. That's what may ko. Harap-harapan na buying a fire truck in Austria, 18 million apiece. And I have been warning the cabinet not to use 16. Sabi ko huwag yan because nakaka-corny niya. Nila ninyo malang every time you get down there sa Makati sa Marantawan patingin sa inyo, kung mabasa muli yung isip nila, nasusukat. So, my congressman, Senator bahala sila. Separated. Presidency, then you have the legislative, and then you have the judiciary. Dito lang ako pwede makialam sa presidency. So lahat dyan na appointed ko, kaya kong paalisin anytime. Pero yung local government officials who are elected by the people, supervision lang dyan. Unlike dito sa department, maging decision of a cabinet member or a director for that matter, kaya ko i-overrun, come up with a different opinion. But dito ako maka-discuss. Ang kayong mga gobyerno, the slightest diminishing of graph, sabihin mo na kagad, alam mo ninyo, hindi ko kaya talaga ako. Ang makahinto ng korupsyon sa gobyerno, kayo lang, sa totoo lang. All you have to do is pag makingi, sabihin mo lang, ito ang pastusan. Putang ina mo, bakit ako magbayad sa iyo? Na yung binabayad ko lahat ng mga ano bakit ako magbayad? You assess me correctly again. And I'll pay government, not you. Yan kasi ang karamihan. Pardon me. I do not want to offend anybody. BIR. Sige, kagel ka na lang. Half the price. Okay, half the price yung kalahati naman sa gobyerno kalahati sa kanila. Sayang. Kasi kung sabihin mo lang yung assess me correctly, at pag niloko ka, or if you are not satisfied, all you have to do is call 888, and you can call anybody and ask for an appointment, and I'd be glad to face you and give you about 50 minutes of coffee time and just tell me the truth. And I will fire. Hindi ako mahilig mag-suspend. Yung taga-Davao na kasama ko was with me since 1988 when I became fired him. Yung magpaparinig lang. Okay, kung ano nang pinag-usapan ninyo sa inyo, yun na yun. So, what that does not do? Obviously, kung hindi ito tupo, alam mo na kung anong ibig sabihin niya. So, hindi talaga pwede sa akin yan kasi ayaw. Kasi lang naman sa panahon ko, ako probinsyano, kasi sa panahon ko, ma-minimize ko lang naman, if not totally, improve the economy by cutting first on, I said, what fundamentally is this country, and that is corruption. Now, I am facing with so many problems. Hindi ko na lang siguro, kilala naman niya sila lahat. Ako ang hindi niyo kilala kasi hindi naman ako punta rito. My world is different. My world is different. Dito ako sa maasahan niyo ako sa law and order. Maasahan niyo ako dyan sa tight fix. I am not the type na pwede punta dito sa kusina. So, I am more sa field and solving problems. Like, for example, killing people. Sabi na, human rights. Yun no, when Davao, katapos ng martial law sa very, very lahat ng nakasamasa, lahat ng tamtik ng hari who said na anti-communist and were given guns. And I tell you for the first time, yung paltik na yun were manufactured inside military camps. So, after martial law, there were a lot of firearms in the hands. So, the problem was how to solve them back. The control. do not destroy the young of this country, because I will. So, ang Davao, yung naniwala, napubay. Siyempre, yung hindi naniwala, namatay. Logical. Ngayon, nung nag-presidente ako, if you remember, I said it one time, that if I win, please do not destroy my country. Very poor people are suffering. There's not the slightest light at the end of the tunnel that there's future for this country. We'll try to break this thing. What's stopping us? And then again I said, do not destroy my country. On bended knees, sinabi ko. On bended knees, I ask you now, kayong mga kriminal lahat, do not destroy my country and do not destroy the young of the community. Alam mo, hindi ako milyonaryo. Kayo dito trabahante, meron kayong good savings but not really enough. We work for the education at ang ano natin sa mga anak. Wala tayo, may kutiteng savings enough for education for those who are better off. You go to America, then you try to, baka wala na kami, at least in your lifetime. Nakatingin kayo ng Europe, pero all the rest of humanity outside was building down there. Wala yan. And ako, mayor na, pero mga 1 year sa hospital. All the best. All the best that St. Luke can provide. Pero kikita ang St. Luke's dyan. Pero 1 year ako dyan. I can, the best medical care, but after 1 year, andyan lang ang pera ko. I'm just giving to you. Pero araw, clean bedding, linen and everything, maybe sweet. Pero after 1 year, yung walang ganun, yung hindi naging presidente, yung hindi naging mayor, putang ina sino, pipili ng medicine sa vital medicines, antibiotic, anti-cancer, cost of 7,000-8,000. Sino magpili sa kanila?
Ako ba din ang hindi ko na siya nakikita nila.
Because of experience, sinasangla pa yung acquire the property na down payment na dyan sa subdivision. Hoping that someday when you retire, you can build it. Or in the middle of if there's any progress in your kung mayaman na hindi ako nakikialam nga sa mga pagkamatay kayo. The better. Pero huwag naman yung malilinis. Ang problema ka nito, may pare ba dito? Ito yan eh. Ako fiscal. We are trained to be impartial. So we prosecute all the persons who appear to be responsible for a crime. That's the rule ng mga abogado. So I am dealing with an apparatus international ito. Most of them really are running the show from China. And they have a real-time video there. And they can always call you and say, deliver mo dyan yung tindahan niya. Focus, dito ka sa Divisoria Banda. And they will transfer your camera. Kung nakita mo yan, dyan ba yung yung iba naman, they are cooking shabu in the high seas. And kung naluto na, they go to the territorial waters as near as they can get there. Tapos ihulog nila may GPS. In Marawi, they were cooking shabu like nobody's business because they were funding the terrorists. So I'm facing France. Cebu, both the terrorist, itong mga negosyante. Tapos itong NPA, na hindi ko maintindihan, blowing up and all. Tapos itong MIMN, plus the terrorist, ISIS na yan. The terrorists in the Philippines are ISIS. Yun ang una ko. Nandito man sila, General Esperon and the rest of the military guys. During the first command conference, when we were talking about so many problems of the Philippines, at the end of it, speaker sinabi ko, talking to drugs, but there is something looming ahead with that clouds of terrorism. Tanungin ninyo yan sila. Sabi ko, it will come. Prepare for that. Only that, because Cebu was being booked. May oversupply na, hindi nito. Dito lang. Kasi yung kanila parang minsan na eh. Ano lang? Parang itong sa Arayan. Kaya nagmula sabi ko, do not destroy the young and do not destroy the weak. Kung may Cebu dito, wala namang mag-distribute dito sa baba. Wala yan. Yung mga distributor naman, tapos wala namang siya pong naluluto, wala rin yan. So it's an apparatus. The apparatus consists of the bullshit, the billionaires, and the poor ones in Tondo. But what am I supposed to do? Because I have to destroy everybody. When you destroy an apparatus, you have to cut and even the tentacles. However insignificant it may be, you just have to destroy. That's what I told everybody. Telling you now, I'm sorry. Eh kung mahirap at pinabayarapan tayo, walang makuha. Yan nga ang ayaw ko sa trabaho. I have to kill everybody. Pero sino ba may gustong pumatay ng tao na walang kasalanan? That's why for the first time nakita ninyo, ako na yung politiko na bumurang sa pinutang ina ko patay yung mga piso. Pati ako lang ang politiko na bumura. Diyan sa Inquirer na, diyan sa ABL, ang putang ina niya mga pera, etc. Ano mamakuha nila sa akin? Sabi nga nila nung itong EBS, basura. At nuwala sila kay Trillanes, isa pang hopeless. 211 million. Sabi ko, hindi totoo yan. Nung nag-presidente ako, sabi ko, sige, ako na ang presidente. Kalkalin ninyo ang buong Pilipinas. Pag may nakita, kayo maski kalahati. Ay, step down pa sa balik. Hanap lang kayo kasi kalahati niya. Mga kalahati. May mga word for dyan. Pakita mo sa akin sa Bangko Sentral, itong putang inang amla na to, tamad-tamad. Sabi ko galing sa inyo yan, let's check kayo. Kaya kalit ako, hindi ko pa nakita. Nandito ba? Sampal pa kita. Mahilig talaga ako ng palang tao. Yan ang totoo. Hindi rin lagi donut. Ganun ako. Kaya ako na ang presidente. Ako na nabuto sa inyo. Sige, makahanap kayo dyan. Kaya ko magpastos ng tao. Kasi wala kang masilip sa babae. Tatlo lang naman yan. Yung presidente niya dito, apat pa. Yung vice president na lang, hindi yung president. Sa drama po na tayo mag-drama, lahat pa tayo. We all have feet of clay. That's the problem. Magkaano ka lang how deep we are stuck in that mud. But we all tread with the feet of clay. So yan ang I hope that things can. I need about 15 days. Hindi lang kasi ba't nahirapan tayo. We knew that there were sorts nandun na. At ang hindi ko talaga alam. At baka siguro hindi talaga rin namin na-miss namin is karami ng armas. Anak, hindi mo ubusan. This is the 45th or this is the tinubos-ubusan. Lalo na yung grenades. Yung ipasok dito sa yung arma na may tube yan. It's a grenade but it's far from a... So, marami akong... That's why I'm not in not my usual equanimity. Kasi alam mo bakit? You want to know the truth? Kasi ako yung nag-declare ng martial law. And I was the one who ordered the armed forces and the police to go there and fight and die. Kaya gusto ko talagang pumunta doon. The other day I attempted again, but Marawi is always a rainy place. I was circling Marawi, I could not land. I could not go down nearer. Baka matsambahan kami ng barret na caliber 50. Pag tinamaan ng gasolinahan niya, sasabog talaga. But I really wanted to be there, to be just really fighting security forces. Baski magpakita lang doon. O baski matamaan, basta dito lang sa puwet, huwag lang sa harap. Sa likod sa puwet, wala yung buto lang yan dyan. I'll try again, not because it's not Rugadas. It's just, ayaw ko magpunta doon na peaceful na. Gusto ko pumunta doon hindi naman ako maipasubo na sundalo na really. Basta ilayo lang ako ng konti. But I want to be there. Well, there is still fighting so that I can observe. But I'll try to make it again this week. Tignan ko kung but palagay ko 10 to 15 days. Okay na. But remember, the new scourge is ISIS. It will continue to haunt us because of our Muslim brothers and sisters. Now, do not get me wrong. I always say this so that you'd understand what I'm saying. Ang nanay ko Maranao. Ang nanay niya Maranao. Lolo ko Chinese. But my father was a Cebuano from Danao, Cebu. So kung wala akong may, let's say, Moro guy here, do not be offended, but listen, I am a Moro also. Pero, it's a hard, may I just read it? It's about to give justice to the fellow who wrote this. I congratulate Phoenix Petroleum Philippines Incorporated for its 10th listing anniversary. As mayor of Davao City, I personally witnessed how it grew from a single gasoline station in the city into one of the fastest growing oil companies in the Philippines. I am also grateful that you continue to share your success by spearheading socio-civic programs for the benefit of local communities. In return, we in government are trying our best to create an environment conducive to investment and establish a harmonious working relationship with investors. As a result, any new player in the downstream oil industry, in fact, in any industry, can make it big and succeed. We also continue to institute reforms and implement policies that so that economic growth becomes more sustainable. This is part of our mission of reassurance shareholders that we do business in the Philippines with ease. As you celebrate a significant milestone, I wish the company continued success. For inspiring story exemplifies the resilience of the Filipino entrepreneurial spirit. It is my hope, and it will encourage other companies to invest in the stock exchange, especially aspiring businessmen. May the ringing of the opening bell realize the potentials of a strong and growing economy and open up more opportunities for our stakeholders. This will allow better wealth distribution and lessen the inequality we experience today. Remember, our entrepreneurs are the backbone of a strong and competitive economy. As agents of change, I ask each of you to be more partners in realizing our goal of providing a comfortable lifestyle for every Filipino. Join us in making this nation more inclusive in the coming years. Mabuhay ang Phoenix Petroleum.
Thank you, President Duterte, for that very inspiring message. We will now proceed with the ceremonial ringing of the bell to mark the first visit of the President at the PSE. May we request President Duterte to please proceed to the right side of the bell, and may we ask our guests on stage to please join the President. We would also like to request members of the PSE Board of Directors to please join us on stage, and members of Phoenix Petroleum Board of Directors to also join us for the special ringing of the bell. May we request the Phoenix Board of Directors to please occupy the